Every team has a history. Successes, failures, new experiments, surprising discoveries. Capturing that history is vital. So why do the tools that are supposed to help often lead to frustration? Stack Overflow for Teams cuts through the noise. Save countless hours and redundant effort. Tap into the collective knowledge of your team and capture it for the future. No matter who joins or leaves, no matter where or when they prefer to work. For millions of developers and technologists, using Stack Overflow is already second nature. Speed up your team's learning curve and your product's time to market.
I'm a staff site reliability engineer, and I've been at Stack Overflow for just over 2 years now as a lead on the kind of the cloud infrastructure side at Stack Overflow. So my responsibilities are, helping run the Stack Overflow for Enterprise product that we host in Azure. The SRE team at Stack uses Stack Overflow for Teams quite a bit to interact with other teams and answer questions about how we host different products. We also use it for documenting how to execute procedures, going from how we host a product, to do certain tasks when certain scenarios happen, things of that nature. Stack Overflow for Teams helps minimize repeat questions by allowing us to answer that question definitively one time and allow multiple people to go look at that answer if they have that same question. The SRE team collaborates with other businesses by documenting our processes that are relevant to other teams, answering any kind of questions that may come up, from the sales or marketing departments or the dev team. We really try to use it to kind of share knowledge and minimize repeat question asking, trying to be the definitive source for a particular topic, especially when teams are distributed across multiple time zones. Myself, I'm on the West Coast. I have teammates on the East Coast of the United States. We frequently interact with people who may be in Europe. So there's never a good time that aligns with everyone. So asynchronous communication using Teams helps quite a bit. We use Teams as opposed to different chat applications or different kind of synchronous modes of communication. So we can kind of answer questions when it's most convenient to us. So, that works across time zones. I myself have a certain time of day which I may dedicate to answering questions that come up in Teams that's convenient for me. So I don't have to kind of get out of the zone or stop what I'm actively working on to answer a question that someone, pings me in Slack, for example. We use articles quite a bit to create long form documentation about how we host a service, or maybe it's a runbook that's quite involved. And we also use collections to gather all of these related articles and Q&A posts organized by tags, so they're relevant to SRE or to our enterprise product or any other type of category that we wish. We use Slack notifications to notify us on particular questions that have come up that match a certain tag. So if there's a question related to Stack Overflow for Teams or our enterprise product, those show up immediately in Slack for us. So the benefit of getting real-time notifications for those is if we are immediately notified when someone has a question. So if we are able to, we can answer it immediately. We can also queue those up for later so we can answer them all in a batch. We also use the Slack notifications to get notifications when existing questions and answers or articles are updated, so we can make sure that that's still relevant, or as a reminder for us to check out a post again to make sure that it's still accurate.
I'm Anita Taylor, and I'm the product manager for StackOverflow.com, which is one of the top 50 websites in the world, serving 100 million users every month. So I manage the product backlog for an Agile Scrum team of 6 engineers. We are building features and functionality for StackOverflow.com as well as bug fixes. And one of my jobs is we ship about 20 user stories and bugs per sprint. And one of our goals is to make sure that people are satisfied with our site. So we have a site satisfaction rating of 85% that we strive to improve and maintain. And we've also strived to hit performance targets for all of our releases. So for example, we have a project called Winter Bash that we do every year. And this year we were proud to achieve a 26% year over year increase in participation. One of the ways that Stack Overflow for Teams helps us be successful is in communicating features and functionality, both things that are new and things that are historical. So for example, when we have a new product launch, we document the launch on Stack Overflow for Teams. We talk about who it's for, why we built it, and what we built, so that at a later point, people can look back and see what we released and when. And also in the present moment, we can alert our employees, our community team, and other stakeholders about what was just released. Our data team, which is the team that handles data analysis and machine learning across the entire company, they use Stack Overflow for Teams as their incoming ticketing system. So when we want to do in-depth data analysis, we put a request on Stack Overflow for Teams for our data team, and then they evaluate and prioritize the request. So that's one area where we collaborate cross-functionally. Another way is that we use it to ask questions of other experts on the team. So for example, if I have questions about an internal tool that we have, I go on Stack Overflow for Teams and I ask a question about why something is working the way that it's working. And this expert in another functional area will use that question to get back to me. My product team uses Stack Overflow for Teams to coordinate with the community team, which is our support organization for the Stack Overflow user and moderator base. So the community team often has questions about certain features and why they work and how they work. So they're able to come to Stack Overflow for Teams and put in questions about how things work. And then our developers, instead of just having to rely on Slack and answer the same questions over and over, they can go to Stack Overflow for Teams, answer the question once, and then link to that question when people have it again. One of the features with Teams that we use religiously is articles. Articles is long form content, so it's not standard Q&A, and it's a great way for me to make product announcements. When we launch something new, I'll write up a short article detailing what we've released, who it's for, why we're doing it, and it lives there for posterity where anyone can come and see it at a later date. So we have a code base that has more than 5 million lines of code. So you can imagine wrapping your head around all of that is pretty challenging. So a lot of the times when there's historical questions that people don't know the answer to, or things that get really, really deep into the code base, the developers go on Teams and they'll ask very specific technical questions. And sometimes the questions are for other people on our team who've been there longer or have worked on that particular piece of the code base. And sometimes it's for other developers in our organization, such as architecture or SRE, where we need expertise from other people.
My name is Kyle Pollard. I've been at Stack Overflow for 2 months, joining in January of this year. I'm based out of British Columbia, Canada. I'm on the public platform team at Stack Overflow. So I get to work on the public question and answer side that every developer is familiar with. So my job is developing new features and fixing bugs on the public platform. My department uses Stack Overflow for Teams as a way to communicate this institutional knowledge. So in my role, I'm more of the receiving end of that institutional knowledge. So it's as part of my onboarding experience, a lot of this information was in Stack Overflow for Teams. Really, it was great on the first day. I was able to hop on and kind of sort by the most voted questions, sort by different tags, and really get to know information that was relevant to me and my role and what I wanted to know about. And not only was it for things like development questions, stuff related to my engineering programming job, but I also get to read about company policies. So things about working remotely, things about working from Canada, really get to learn all of these questions that other people have answered before me. It really helps me build my confidence quickly onboarding with the team, just because I have this wide array of information to access. If I have a question, someone else has probably already asked it. One of the big benefits is that when I do have a question that no one else has asked, I get to make a new question on the internal team. And it's not something that interrupts the workflow of my teammates. I can just tag my team, or I can tag another team and ask them directly, or get the subject matter expert and ask them directly. And that's something they can review when they're checking their email or checking their Slack, and really helps get that information across. Stack Overflow Teams has some features that the public stackoverflow.com website doesn't have that I find really helpful in my role. So the big thing that I like is tagging a teammate, someone who might know the answer. So as I get onboarded, I get to learn different roles in my team. And if I have a question for them, even during the onboarding sessions, I can tag them directly in the question. They can answer it on their own time, and really helps me get that question answered and documented publicly. The user group features are very important too. Sometimes I know the team that's responsible for answering a question, but I don't know the specific people on the team. So if I want to tag architecture or public platform, these user groups help me get my questions in front of the right subject matter experts. No developer really enjoys writing documentation. And this really gives a nice outlet for me to write documentation without it feeling like documentation. It's a nice kind of reframing tool to really get information down. It's fast and easy to write a question and write an answer to it. You can self-answer your own questions, so you can get that knowledge down. If you see a question that's out of date, you can comment on it or edit it, and improve that question and answer over time. So if things have changed over time, you can kind of see the history of what's happened with your question. And you don't have to go digging through a huge table of contents and a whole bunch of wiki pages. You just get your bite-sized, easy to digest question and answer format that you love on the public side, but it's got your internal company knowledge that couldn't be shared elsewhere. During remote work time, you have random animals come in on the screen, and it's hard to remember who all has pets and what their names are. So I tagged my team in the question and asked, hey, what are your pets' names, and can you post a cute picture of them? So we had a great post where lots of pets got shown, and everyone put little fun facts about their pets. So it is fun, but it's also useful for me because I don't know everybody's pets.
Hi, I'm Joy, and I'm the head of product marketing here at Stack Overflow. I have been at Stack a little over 2 years now. So I oversee the product marketing team that's responsible for our paid products, as well as the product marketing for our public Stack Overflow site. I also manage the marketing analytics function for the organization. And we're a lean team. There's only a handful of us. And its mission has 3 pillars: align, launch, and scale. And these pillars cover activities for both our internal partners as well as our external customers and users. So our align pillar is making sure that everyone understands our products, the problems they solve, and the value that they bring. Our launch pillar is about the go-to-market activities, everything from education to driving awareness, all the way through signups for our paid products. And the scale pillar is about creating scalable solutions and processes for our internal partners. And we're in a unique position within the organization because we're collaborating and sharing knowledge back and forth across the organization, everything from our product partners to our marketing partners, sales, and engineering. We use Stack Overflow for Teams to share product or feature launch materials within our sales organization. Everything from training videos to product details to sales resources, FAQs. And it's a good way to get ahead of questions before the launch as well. The sales team will ask questions that they're getting from their customers, and we'll be able to address those quickly ahead of time. It benefits new people who join the organization too. Instead of missing out on the launch email, they can find all the same information, whether they started the day after the launch or months after the launch. It's especially helpful for sales assets that also need a little bit more training. Stack Overflow is a global and distributed organization, and our product marketing team can't always be available when our partners within the organization have questions. So we put as much information as possible on Stack Overflow for Teams to make it easy for people to find what they need. One example is our swag process. Like many companies, our process was impacted by COVID and us not being in the office. So rather than just sending an email or creating a stale document, we posted this on Teams so everyone was aware. We're also constantly releasing or updating content that people might not need every day, but it's still valuable when they need it. One example of this is our interactive ROI calculators. We started off with 1, and now we're up to 4. Rather than having to resend emails or update multiple docs, we edit the question in our instance, and it has the latest information. So our partners know that they can trust it. They know when it was last edited, and they can ask for clarifications within the comments. And then tightly coordinated and time-sensitive launches are also critical to post in Teams. We know that emails get buried or notifications get lost in chat channels, and people really don't know what to search for when they're looking in shared drives. So by capturing the details of the launch in a transparent and easy to discover and rediscover way, it reduces the burden on my team as well as our partner teams who may be getting asked for that information as well. Stack Overflow for Teams really helps us stay connected with our customers because our partners are bringing us what they hear from clients and prospects by posting questions to us in Stack Overflow for Teams. A recent example was about InnerSource. So as more companies are embracing this, our sales reps and sales engineers are getting more questions about it. So we had put together a number of assets related to this when we sponsored All Things Open back in 2019. But no one remembered these. So when the new question came in, we were able to quickly respond with a number of resources and talking points, and including our Intuit case study that just came out that was speaking to this. One of the first questions I ever posted on Stack Overflow for Teams was about topic tags. One of our new advertising sales reps asked me if they were like hashtags on Instagram. After I wrote the email to her, I thought, I wonder if this would actually work on Stack Overflow for Teams. And I was actually thrilled, no lie, when I could copy and paste what I had already put into the email to her, including the picture, right into the system. So it was fast, it was easy, I had zero training required, and I was able to share something that every other new advertising sales rep would need in the future. It really became apparent how quickly and how flexible the product actually was. These are some of my favorite examples, those things that are light bulb moments that I know that my team or I will need again. One example is capturing all the best practices for recording and editing videos. Not a video editor, but when we need things quickly, we need to do it in-house. So I've created a question that captures all the little fiddly bits that we need to change in order to improve the video quality. And it goes way beyond being a checklist. It's that context we need in order to have a good outcome and something that we're proud to put on the site. It's not a full recipe, but it's all those reminders that you need to keep in mind. How we collaborate with colleagues in a fun way is actually interesting from my side. It's the ability to comment and tag people within those comments that is the most fun for me. I'll see something that somebody on my team or even one of my partners needs to see, and I'll tag them in the comment with a note. It's async at its best. It's not interrupting them, but it still draws their attention.